A drop of red liquid landed on the man's palm. He tasted it briefly, but suddenly sensed something was wrong. As he looked up, a horrifying scene unfolded. A large amount of red liquid sprayed into the center of the hall, and the surrounding people instantly became frantically excited. The man was utterly terrified and tried to flee, but was punched to the ground. It turned out that this was a group of organized vampires, their faces contorted as they all stared at the man. In that moment of crisis, a tall figure suddenly appeared. Everyone seemed to have seen their nemesis and retreated hastily. He took his first step, revealing gleaming white teeth, then pulled out a gun from his back and launched an attack on the demons. Wherever the bullets grazed, someone would turn to ashes. No vampire could escape the Blade Warrior's weapon. But then, the leader of the monsters suddenly appeared, and seeing him, he charged forward with gritted teeth. Without exception, everyone was reduced to ashes by the flying blade. The police arrived shortly after, but the dangerous scene had already fallen silent, and the blade had fled. The police took the leader's body back to the lab, where Myra's analysis revealed a large amount of unknown components within it. However, as the two examined the body closely, the charred corpse suddenly came to life. One of the men couldn't escape and was bitten on the neck. Seeing this, Myra quickly opened the door and fled, but the monster still pursued. In the critical moment, the blade reappeared, swiftly punching the monster and then severing its hand. Just then, the police arrived and opened fire on the two men. Seeing Myra being bitten, Kiang couldn't bear it, so he picked her up and threw her downstairs before jumping out and escaping. Soon, they arrived at an abandoned factory. Kiang hurriedly called Whitebeard, telling him to save the woman, but Whitebeard knew that anyone bitten would eventually become a vampire monster. Myra happened to encounter Kiang Ji, a monster hunter named Whitebeard who had vanquished countless vampires. 20 years ago, Whitebeard adopted Kiang Ji and taught him monster hunting skills. Whitebeard's method of saving him was very simple. He used garlic juice, which he had developed to save him. The next day, Myra woke up, surprised to find herself alive. She then arrived at Whitebeard's research lab, filled with strange weapons. In the center sat a peculiar knife. Just as Myra was about to touch it, suddenly, she realized it was a knife with hidden mechanisms, which only its master could fully control. At that moment, Kiang Ji was sitting on a bench, receiving an antidote injection from Whitebeard. It turned out that Kiang Ji had been a half-vampire since birth, and after being adopted, he needed daily injections to suppress his vampire status. Seeing that Myra had recovered, Whitebeard sent her home, but he didn't tell her something. Anyone targeted by a vampire would be killed. Sure enough, Myra encountered them on her way home. Fearing that Kiang Ji was nearby, they didn't make a move. Myra returned home, only to find a policeman hiding inside. Luckily, she noticed something was wrong and sprayed the garlic juice the white-bearded man had given her. It turned out the vampire had infiltrated the police station. Suddenly, Kiang appeared, grabbing the man and interrogating him. Myra instantly realized she had been released as bait to find their hideout. Unfortunately, just as Kiang was about to get the information, the vampire escaped. That night, the two staked out the police station and followed the policeman to a bar. Kiang smelled blood and found an entrance to the basement in the kitchen, where a large amount of intelligence was stored. It turned out they not only had spies in the police station, but also infiltrated various industries. As they approached the detention room, they saw a 500-pound, bedridden security guard, and even more terrifying, he was also a vampire. As Kiang approached, he immediately dialed headquarters, begging his superiors for help. Blade had broken into the basement, and on the other end of the line was Kiang's nemesis, Fox. Under their interrogation, the terrifying monster revealed a secret. His superiors were researching an ancient secret technique that, by sacrificing 12 pure-blooded vampires, would awaken a powerful demon. Upon learning this, Kiang immediately blasted open the door to the innermost secret chamber, where unexpectedly lay the very secret technique, detailing the entire history of vampires. Just as they were investigating, a figure darted past nearby. Kiang spotted it and gave chase, only to find it was a little girl. Unexpectedly, a group of vampires discovered them, led by Curly, who had escaped a few days earlier. Kiang was now handcuffed and tied to a pillar, unable to move. Curly, harboring resentment towards Kiang, attacked him fiercely, but strangely, Kiang didn't struggle. Instead, he laughed. Just as the group was feeling frustrated, suddenly, it turned out that Whitebeard had been lying in ambush outside. They quickly escaped from the inside, leaving only a backpack behind. A short while later, the entire secret room exploded in flames. The group escaped through the subway, but Curly and his men caught up. Whitebeard then boarded the train and fled. Kiang fought with Curly to take Myra away. Seeing a large number of vampires chasing after them, Kiang picked up Myra and grabbed the subway railing to get on the train. After escaping danger, the injured Kiang quickly took out a vial of medicine and injected himself. Myra instantly realized that Kiang was also a vampire, but Kiang was different from them. From Whitebeard, they learned that Kiang's mother had been bitten by a vampire before his birth, and after giving birth to Kiang, his genes mutated, making him a half-human, half-vampire monster. He was not afraid of monsters or sunlight. Although he possessed vampire powers, his heart remained kind. To survive, Kiang Ji endures daily pain, injecting himself with a bloodthirsty suppressant developed by Whitebeard, but unfortunately, it only lasts a day. Thus, they depend on each other for survival. Whitebeard teaches him hunting skills, and he eventually becomes Blade, the vampire's mortal enemy. Curly finds Fox, who has also discovered Kiang Ji's secret and decides to capture him alive for a trap. To prevent his family from stopping his plan, Fox captures the vampire leader, pulls out his prized tooth, and finally exposes him to sunlight, causing him to vanish. Meanwhile, Myra's bite wound hasn't fully healed. She learns from Whitebeard that she will become a vampire in 2 days. Worse still, Whitebeard is terminally ill and doesn't have much time left, leaving Kiang Ji to fight the entire vampire family alone. Fox then finds him and reveals his purpose. He also wants to become a new race like Kiang Ji, possessing both human genes and vampire powers. He invites Kiang Ji to join him, but is cruelly rejected. Seeing there was no mandala, Fox threw the captured girl aside. Kiang Ji drew his gun, intending to finish her off there, but seeing the girl thrown away, he had to give up. Soon, Whitebeard was attacked and ultimately died at Fox's hands. By the time Kiang Ji arrived, it was too late. He could only watch helplessly as Whitebeard left. Before leaving, Whitebeard told Kiang Ji that Fox's plan was nearing completion, now only lacking the heart of a daywalker. He then warned him to be careful, as Myra had also been captured. After Whitebeard's departure, Kiang Ji was heartbroken, wishing he could wipe out the vampire clan immediately. He prepared everything and then stormed alone into Fox's old mansion. Everyone there was a monster. Kiang Ji first went to the hall, then destroyed the entire security system, but found his mother in a room. He froze, but Fox seized the opportunity to launch a sneak attack, easily subduing Kiang Ji and sending him to the altar, intending to use his blood to complete his immortality plan. At this point, Kiang Ji had also lost his vampire powers and could only regain them by injecting serum. Meanwhile, Myra secretly escaped from the cellar, startling Kiang Ji during the ritual. Lacking serum, Myra stretched out her neck. Kiang Ji didn't want to bite, but to stop Fox, he had to go along with it. Kiang Ji quickly recovered, and Fox's plan was complete. A bolt of lightning flashed across the sky, unleashing immense power. Instantly, the 12 pureblood vampires sacrificed were transformed into demons, all rushing towards Fox in the center. Just when everyone thought the plan was successful, Kiang Ji descended from the sky. Curly tried to stop him but was instantly reduced to ashes before his eyes. Without hesitation, he quickly killed all his minions, then charged at Fox with his knife. The two fought fiercely on the altar, but Kiang Ji discovered that Fox had become completely immortal. No matter how he attacked, Fox would quickly regenerate. Gradually, Kiang Ji was at a disadvantage. Just then, he suddenly noticed the serum stuck in the crevice. Taking advantage of Fox's inattention, he threw his knife at it. At that moment, the mechanism above was triggered, and the serum instantly fell into Kiang Ji's hand. Fox, strong and muscular, immediately rushed over. Without hesitation, Kiang Ji swiftly fired a shot that landed directly on Fox. Then came the second and third shots, until finally all the serum was injected into Fox's body. Stimulated by the serum, his immortality was completely destroyed, and he exploded and died the next second. After the two were rescued, Myra wanted to heal Johnny, but was refused because the vampire's influence still existed throughout the world. To eliminate these monsters, He could only preserve this power until all vampires were wiped out.